You know, it's it's kind of hard for me to say this with my chest, and I'm just gonna open up a dialogue, and I'm gonna try and get Dino in here. Yeah. But I want to say something right now. If I didn't do these videos, or I didn't do these freestyles, or I didn't kick off the way I do, and I didn't take the circumstance seriously, I think I think from a very young age, and I also want to touch on this too. I think from a very young age, I think what's really hard to grasp is no relatives of mine stepped in to lead. Yeah. And I think that's kind of why I had to become Dino. And I think that because I look over at, several tables, and I see my relatives, like whether we're parties or functions, weddings, whatever it may be, right? When I go, because obviously it's a part of my religion, I go to functions, parties, whatever it may be, yeah. I go, and I'm sitting down, minding my own business, looking over at several different tables, and I look at myself and I think times have changed, and I get that, and I also get that people want to go off in their own direction, but you have to look at it from a respectful aspect, like. Even when I quoted, you don't need to watch a podcast to learn that, right? I don't necessarily think that Dino could be taught. You know what I mean? Like Dino is a learning machine. Like I'm the walking, talking fat machine when I'm spitting these bars. When I'm spraying the, I'm going in, right? But I'm saying it from a place of respect, and I want people to understand this. If I was having a conversation with somebody and I had no money, and they knew this, they would say, if you didn't have your relatives, bro, you'd be on the streets. You'd be in poverty. Yeah. You'd be broke. Right? I have to admit this. Even if I had everything in the world, I would still have the perception of I don't have anything. Now, it can change when you have a relationship. It can change when you have the love of your life. It can change when you have a circle of guys. And it can even change when you have the mindset of a winner. And I think this was the thing that I started to understand from 2018 before I came across the Uber video and I truly discovered, well, learn more about myself, let's say, right? When I started to watch more people and I started to learn about people, right? No, not podcasts, but videos. And I started to dive into the genre of what I make, right? Because I'm essential. I'm a part of the genre of music, right? I'm a part of the culture now, right? Dino is the culture. I think when I started to see myself and I started to hear, the statements, right? Being the walking, talking fat machine, or they want to watch me like an audience. I think it all became apparent that my talents over the years had been wasted. Yeah. And I think that I could have been with relatives. I could have made money. I could have traveled more. I could have done more with my family. And I think that, you know, I've kind of taken a moment to reflect. And it's important that we do this. But I think the biggest thing here that I have done is distance myself from these pricks, so-called relatives. Mainly due to the fact that growing up, I needed bikes. I needed cars. I needed a sense of responsibility, right? And I think if men, no, 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 no. If boys, we're not talking about girls, right? When you talk about boys, right, they need to feel a sense of, you know, their parents are giving them something to do, and help them feel motivated. Oh, you should get in a BMXs, you should get in a quad, I don't know, quad bikes, go-karts. I think that it's important that these people have that, but a lot of the times kids don't, boys don't, And that's where all this talk about genders being changed, pronouns, fucking, I don't know, feminism, equality, all these things have ruined our society, right? Because when you look at it and address it for what it is, people say you're talking shit. But we gotta be real. We can't live in this delusion. I don't live in this delusion. I live in the real world, my friend, right? So I'm gonna say this with my chest. I think because we've created a Disneyland of, people can do whatever the fuck they want to do, right? It's made people smug and arrogant and full of shit, right? Now, I don't do this to impress people. I don't do this to aggravate people. I do this to raise awareness since 2019. Yeah. Because I did the freestyle addressing their issues, right? And when I started to go through, like, I met Josh McCarthy. I didn't think about Fireworker. I didn't think about being blocked. I didn't think about being excluded. I didn't think about being removed. Hell, if I went to these various countries and I could be a part of their culture and taste and live in it, right? There wouldn't be any talk of Wolverhampton. But I think because I live in Wolverhampton, I don't live in Wolverhampton, sorry. I'm a tourist in Wolverhampton, right? It's just idiotic. Yeah. And I think this is the thing, right? Everybody's entitled to say what they say. But that part, living in poverty or struggling, that applies to me. And I think that's kind of why I see myself with so much value. And I see myself, a 10 out of 10 in my head. Because I do have a certain way of thinking. And I never held myself back. And I think what I understand is my family don't understand. They don't want me to train. They don't want me to eat right. They don't want me to socialize with the right kind of people. I mean, I still live in this shithole. Yeah. I understand I know where you're coming from. And then Dino comes through and he does what he does and I fucking love him. He's me. He's the darkness inside of me. He's my evil twin, right? My evil twin. The only character in the genre of music that gets me, that understands. That's my evil twin, bro. He understands me. And I know people don't want to hear this. And I have to, this is me. I'm not talking about all these other people. I'm talking about me. I'm holding myself accountable, right? And that's what I'm trying to say. When you work, when you take your girlfriend out for dates, when you pay the bill, right? When you're making moves as a man, and you don't ever have the opportunity to kick off. You don't ever have the opportunity to snap at them and hold them back and say, it's your fault I gave up this, it's your fault I gave up that. You have a responsibility. You have a responsibility to that situation, right? The situation you're in, right? Yeah. And that runs for families. That runs from being a relative to somebody, right? If you choose to be related to somebody or you choose to connect with that person, that is your choice. If I chose to connect with my uncle or I chose to connect with my cousin, I'm not trying to talk nonsense. I'm trying to be practical. That's my choice, right? And there's so much on the line, right? Whether it be my older cousin, younger cousin, older uncle. Obviously, my uncle's going to be older than, because obviously he's my uncle, right? So he's older than me, right? But what I'm trying to say specifically is, there just weren't no leaders. And I think the part that really angers me the most is I would have killed to have had a better life growing up. You know what I mean? Yeah. And I'm not trying to say, like, it's somebody else's fault or it's their fault why I'm not this or that or I'm this way or it's that way. I'm not trying to get into that, right? What I'm trying to say specifically is there are many reasons why people aren't happy and why they do what they do. And I think because I never had a background of doing constructive things or doing the things that I really needed to do, like I could fix the chain on a bike, or I could learn how to take apart a quad and put it back together. No, people don't really see that. People don't really believe that. And I've seen a lot of motocross videos. I would love to ride a motocross, a bike, right? Anything. I want to do something. I'm useful, right? But people have this dickhead ideology, this label. You are useless. Yeah. And I'm sorry to have to break it to myself. I'm gonna go inside my brain and I'm gonna have this conversation. I'm gonna say, you don't understand. You are useless. But the content, the freestyles, yeah. I've done more for the culture. I've done more for the scene. There are many people out here that don't believe, but I have to. I really want to. I don't want this to be one of those type of conversations / arguments, right? I'm trying to let out my frustration. I don't ever want to struggle. I don't ever want to be in poverty. I wanted to go to these countries. I want to see the culture. I want to live that culture. I don't want to go over to somebody and they say something I don't like, so I want to get up in their face. Fuck you, cats! And everyone else in Wolverhampton, because I knew you fucking did that on purpose, you bastard. And that's even evident right there. I snap, I kick off, that's what I do. And I'm telling you, right? Life could have been different, right? Yeah. And that is what I say when I go back to training with those guys. I have to find some sort of solace, some sort of positive in this shithole, right? I trained with Ram, I trained with Pavan, I trained with Bogai Simon, I trained with Tyrese, I met Adam Lees, I met Josh McCarthy. I got to share in some form of masculine energy, right? And I got to be myself around these guys. I never had to apologize for existing. I never had to look at myself and judge myself. I got to be myself. And I want these youngers or anyone that comes up to me to feel that too. I want them to say, he's not telling me to change. He wants me to embrace who I am. But the problem is, we've got equality. Yeah. We've got feminism. Bro, this is turning into a moron and nobody rant this is. No, but listen. I'm not trying to judge feminism or equality or pronouns. Like I said, if it's behind closed doors and it doesn't affect me or it doesn't affect anyone around you and you're not pushing your beliefs on other people, by all means.